Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Chad Williams Fixes All. In this episode, we're going to be replacing the front rotors and brake pads on this 2004 Saturn Vue. Let's get to it. So I've been working on the Saturn Vue a lot on my channel, and I'm about done with it, about ready to put it up for sale, but the brakes on it are just terrible. And in the previous episode, I actually tried to clean them up a little bit, the rotors and everything like that, but they're just completely shot. So I went ahead and bought a brand new set of rotors and brake pads from Detroit Axle. So got the Detroit Axle brake pads here. We've got Detroit Axle rotors. So 2 rotors and brake pads. It ran me about $75 off Amazon. If you want to pick up a set, they're on my they're in my description down below. Hit the Amazon link, helps me out if you buy them off there too. So check those out. But yeah, I went with these Detroit Axles. I've had really good luck with them before. I've used their parts on a lot of different vehicles. Never really had any issues. So we're going to go ahead and use them on this 2004 Saturn Vue. This should be very similar to any other type of Saturn Vue. Rotors and brake pads, it's pretty straightforward. So we're actually going to go ahead and work on the passenger side of the vehicle. I've actually already done the driver's side. Make sure I didn't hit any snags or anything like that. Make sure everything worked correctly and was described from Amazon exactly as it should have been, which it was. So I went ahead and did the driver's side already. Those were terrible. Like, there was literally 0 brake pad left on there, and it was just pretty much brake pad metal rubbing right against the rotor. So that side was completely trashed, but luckily that's done, and we're going to go ahead and be working on this passenger side now. So let's go ahead and jack up the vehicle and take the wheel off and start working on it. So now with the wheel off, we can take a look and see what these look like. So this is the rotor even after I tried cleaning it up. And then the brake pads are just pretty much gone. This side actually looks a little bit better than the other side, but I was really afraid of the calipers being like locked up and seized, but the other side was pretty good as far as the caliper goes, but the rotor and the brake pad is just terrible. So the first thing we're going to have to do is take off the caliper. So the caliper is held on with one 14mm bolt there and one 14mm bolt there. Take those 2 off, and then we have the caliper bracket on the back held on by 15mm bolts, one there and one down there. So we'll go ahead and take both of those off, and then we can get to the rotor. All right, so we went ahead and took off the caliper. See the caliper there? It's out a little bit on both of the pistons. This is the caliper bracket here. You can see that there's a little bit of brake pad on this one left. That's probably why this one was actually braking a little bit better than the other side. Now on the other side, these actually still all work. This is actually pretty lubricated up in there still, but we're going to lubricate those up some more, those slides. And then the rotor, we're just going to take a hammer and beat this off here in just a second. So let's go ahead and get the hammer. So if we take a quick look at the caliper here, you can see I have it zip tied up out of the way. So you can use that with like bungee cords or string or anything like that, but keeps it out of the way. And then we have the rotor down here that we need to go ahead and get the hammer and take it off by beating on it. So let's go and get the hammer and start beating on it. Now that we just went ahead and beat that rotor off, we can go ahead and start prepping the new rotor. So this is the box to the new rotor. So we have the one in there. Looks just fine. So they're all sealed up and everything like that. And they actually have a little bit of oil in there to keep them from rusting in while they're sitting in storage and stuff like that. So first thing we're gonna have to do is bust open this plastic bag, put it onto a piece of cardboard, and we're gonna clean this with brake clean. So the brake clean will get all of the oils off there, so that way we'll actually have a better friction surface for when the brake pads hit, and it just doesn't make like a glaze on the rotor. So if you don't clean off the rotors, it's just going to make a complete mess of your brand new rotors. So let's go ahead and open up the package and start cleaning this rotor. All right, I went ahead and took 2 passes each on each side of it, and now we can go ahead. I like to put a little bit of anti-seize on the middle here or on the hub, so that way it will be a little bit easier for the next person to take off. It won't just seize to the hub like this current one did. So I just throw a little bit of anti-seize in there or on the hub, and then I put it up on there. There we go, the new rotor is now put on there. We put the anti-seize on the inside of the rotor, and then we put on a nut so that way it secures it nice and tight to the hub. Now we can go ahead and work on the caliper bracket. So I already took the old brake pads out of the caliper bracket, but with this caliper bracket there is still the slides or the shims in here. So you just want to take a screwdriver in, put your screwdriver in here and lift these shims up out of here. There you go. You got both these shims out of here. You get new ones with the kit. And the next thing you want to do is just with either a wire brush, brass brush, or anything like that, you want to clean up the spots where the shims sit. So there's going to be a lot of buildup of rust or composites. And you just want to clean all that up so that way it's a nice clean mating surface for where the new shims are going to go. So I'm going to clean this up real quick. And once you get those cleaned up to where you like them, you can go ahead and open up your box for your brake kit. And there's a shim kit in here, like I mentioned. And you can go to put that shim kit right back in there the way it was. Should just snap right in. There you go. That fit right in there just like that. And then there's 2 ways to do the brake pads. So you can either put the brake pads on off the car, which I find easier on this, or you can put the brake pads on while the caliper bracket's on there. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, lube up the caliper shims, or the brake pad shims now. And I'm going to use this Permatex brake pad parts lubricator. This is a ceramic extreme type, so it's purple, and it just goes right on to the shims like that. And I've used this stuff for a while. I recommend you use it too. This does come with some brake pad lubricant, but I really recommend this stuff. This stuff works really, really well. All right, now with the shims all lubricated up, we can go and put our brake pads in. So this is the hardest part I usually find on most brake jobs, is trying to fit these in when they're really tight. So making sure the shims are completely down in their grooves is the first step of making sure that it's going to fit like you want it to. So I'm just kind of pushing these shims down a little bit further. And there we go. I went ahead and put in those brake pads. Just got them on the farthest outer part of the shim. And now we can go ahead and put this brake pad and caliper assembly our caliper bracket onto the hub of the vehicle. So let's go ahead and put it on there. All right, the next thing you want to do is go and remove these slides. So you just want to pull out on them, pull the rubber with them, and then take the brake parts lubricant again. Just throw a bunch of grease on there. And then just go ahead and slide it right back in that hole. And then make sure the rubber boot goes right back over top. And then make sure it can slide back and forth. So that's looking good there. We're going to do the bottom one. There we go. Bottom one's all good now. All right, so the next part is actually my least favorite part, and that is pushing in the pistons on the caliper. Mainly because I don't have the right tool for it, so we're going to be using vice grips today. So let's go ahead and just cut this zip tie off real quick. Bring it down here. And then, like I said, we have to push these calipers in, each one of these pistons. So I'm just going to take C-clamps and I'm just going to push them in. If they're going in a little tight, open the hood, release the cap on the brake reservoir where the brake fluid goes in there, and maybe it might go in a little bit easier, but there is a special tool for this. I just don't have it, and if you don't have it either, you can do it just like I'm going to do it. All right, well, I just pushed those Harbor Freight C-clamps to their limits, but they didn't break and they didn't crack, so awesome. But we're just gonna go ahead and slide this right on top. And we'll go ahead and take our bolts and put them back in. There we go, go ahead and tighten them to torque specifications. Click. Click. Then we can go ahead and remove the lug nut that we had on here before. Don't forget to put your cap back on your reservoir if you took it off. And then go ahead and put your wheel back on. And there we go. We went ahead and put the wheel back on. Everything is fully complete now on this passenger side, just like we did on the driver's side before I started filming. But we got our new rotors on, got our new brake pads on, both by Detroit Axle. Again, check out my link down in the description to purchase your own. Also helps me out, like I mentioned. So if you guys like this video, please press the like button. If you guys like me and my channel, click subscribe and make sure to check out the other videos. But until next time, thanks for watching.